Now, if you want to question my qualifications, let me suggest this, that maybe the American people might wonder about your qualifications, Madam Secretary. When you voted for the war in Iraq, are you qualified to be President of the United States when you're raising millions of dollars from Wall Street?
It's kind of a silly thing to say, but I'm going to trust the voters of New York who know me and have voted for me 3 times, twice for Senate, once in the presidential primary. Look, I don't know why he's saying that.
That race is getting feistier by the day. Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders engaging in a series of testy exchanges. So what does that do to the Democratic race? With me now, Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee, and welcome back here. It's good to have you back on our program. I don't know, a lot of people saw this challenge coming, but it is here. Now, there are Democrats openly considering that this battle will do lasting damage to the eventual Democratic nominee. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, look, every campaign, as it gets towards a heated, high-stakes primary like the New York one will be, and, we're getting towards the end, the last couple of months of our primary, is going to get more tense and more pointed. But feisty, the word you just used, is really, I think, the best way to describe it. And it's totally understandable that this has gotten a little bit more tense, and the exchanges might be a little bit more heated. But compared to what's going on the other side, and also when you compare the tenor of our debates and our candidates who have really engaged in substantive, clear-eyed discussions about the direction that they'd take this country compared to the food fight and the civil war that continues to rage on the Republican side, I really am not at all worried about us coming back together.
Okay, we'll get to the Republicans a little later. But this is serious stuff when Bernie Sanders insists that he will not take back his comment, that he believes she is not qualified. And he lists the issues: Wall Street, Iraq War, trade deals. That's Bernie Sanders' campaign in a nutshell. How can it not do damage to Hillary Clinton?
Well, like I said, I think that it is understandable that things are going to get tossed around, words tossed around in a increasingly tense political environment. And I think that both campaigns really need to be careful about making sure that we don't do lasting damage. I don't think we're at that point. But I think that it is important to be careful that at the end of the primary process, when we have a presumptive nominee, that we're able to easily reunify. Right now, I would characterize the tenor of this and tone of this primary to be nothing like the intensity of where we were 8 years ago in 2008 between then Senators Clinton and Obama. And we easily came back together then. There were a few holdouts, and I think that will be no exception in this election.
Well, yes,
but I'm confident that we will be able to come back together.
We remember that, and that was there were a lot of headlines in 2008 that seemed to be running parallel to what we're watching today. Question: why has he won 6 of the last 7 contests?
Now, Bill, you know that it is not my job to be handicapping how each of our primary candidates are doing.
But maybe you could give us a reflection about why you think it is going this way, because she is defending home turf now. She is fighting for victory in a state that she served as U.S. Senator. Now, why is that?
If you look at the enthusiasm level that was coming out of Wisconsin comparatively between our candidates and the Republicans, 7 in 10 Wisconsin voters, when they came out of the polls, said they were enthusiastic about voting for either one of our candidates, compared to 4 in 10 for the Republicans. You have in New York and the subsequent contests coming up, it's a little bit of a pitched battle. And Bernie Sanders' campaign is to be commended for igniting the grassroots support and really appealing to the youth, which are going to be a critical vote when it comes to who wins this presidential election. And Hillary Clinton has 9.1 million votes, far more votes than Donald Trump, and Bernie Sanders has a little more than 7 million votes, more than Cruz and Kasich.
But
there is a tremendous amount of enthusiasm for our candidates, and there will be.
Yeah, she cannot shake him, and that is clear. And if she were sitting here today, let me just get to the question. She would argue, listen, I've got 2 million more votes than he does. But you've got the whole issue of superdelegates that we do not have time to go into today. Will there be the possibility now of a contested Democratic convention in Philadelphia at the end of July?
No, there won't be a contested convention. I expect that when we get to the end of our primary nominating contest between primaries and caucuses, that we will have a presumptive nominee before we get to the convention who will be the presumptive nominee based on pledged delegates selected by voters. That's how it's always worked ever since 1984 when unpledged delegates were first created, and that is how I expect it to be going into this convention.
Listen, I hope you come back. I've got a lot more questions and a lot more time next time, okay?
My pleasure,
I bet you're
no problem.
super jealous of Reince Priebus right now, aren't you?
You know, I think that he probably is super jealous of me, actually, given what's going on.
Next time
I think he'd rather be me than him.
We'll ask him. Thank you. Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Feel free.
Out
Thanks.
of Florida today. Thanks.